Picture the most annoying person you know, the one who always wants to be in charge, the one who volunteers to lead the group project nobody asked them to lead, organizes the friend trip out of nowhere, and somehow always ends up holding the aux cord at every party. Now imagine walking up to that person and telling them, to their face, that their big idea is stupid and they should sit down. Feels a little rude, right? Well, congratulations, because that is more or less the entire political system that ran the human species for about 95% of its existence. So how did ancient humans pick a leader? The short answer is that, for a very long time, the smartest move was to make absolutely sure that nobody got to be one. And the way they pulled that off is going to feel uncomfortably familiar. Here is the thing we all assume. We assume early humans must have had a big, strong chief, a caveman alpha, some bearded guy with the largest club who told everyone where to hunt and who got the best cave. It feels obvious. It feels like nature. Every wildlife documentary has a silverback gorilla or a lion sitting at the top, so surely we had one too. But when anthropologists actually went out and lived with the hunter-gatherer societies that still survive today, they found almost the exact opposite. No chief, no boss. When 19th century European explorers showed up and asked to speak to the leader, the locals basically stared at them like they were insane. Leader of what? And that confusion is the most human thing in this entire video, but we will get to why in a second. For most of our history, we lived in small bands, and these bands were what one anthropologist described as fiercely egalitarian, not politely equal, fiercely equal. They worked extremely hard to keep everyone on the same level, and the person they watched most closely was anyone who started acting like they were just a little bit better than everyone else. The anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent years studying this and gave it a fantastic name: reverse dominance. In a normal animal hierarchy, one big individual dominates the group. In reverse dominance, the group teams up to dominate the one guy who tries to rise above everybody. The many bully the would-be bully. And honestly, you have watched this exact thing play out in every group chat, where one person gets a little too cocky. We did not invent the subtweet. We inherited it. So how do you keep an ambitious person from grabbing power without a constitution, a court, or an HR department? You make fun of him, relentlessly. This was the actual mechanism. If someone got too big for his loincloth, the band would tease him until he knocked it off. If teasing did not work, they would simply ignore him completely, which, when your survival depends entirely on the group, is genuinely terrifying. And if that still did not work, the show-off could be kicked out for good. You think being left on read is bad. Imagine being left on read by everyone you have ever met, in the middle of the Ice Age. The clearest example of this comes from a group in the Kalahari called the Juhansi, studied by an anthropologist named Richard Lee. Lee noticed something bizarre. Whenever a hunter came back with a huge, beautiful animal, the absolute prize catch, the rest of the camp would refuse to congratulate him. They would insult the meat. They would say it was pathetic, scrawny, barely worth dragging home, basically a bag of bones. Lee was baffled, so he asked them why. And one man gave him an answer so sharp it could have been written this morning. He said roughly that when a young man kills a lot of meat, he starts to think of himself as a chief, and the rest of us as his servants. We cannot accept this, so we call his meat worthless, to cool his heart and make him gentle. Read that again. They had a deliberate, organized cultural strategy for keeping a high performer humble. We have the same instinct. We just call it the comment section. Now, you would think all of this means ancient humans had no leaders whatsoever, that it was pure chaos. Every instinct says that. But here's where it gets genuinely strange. And this is the part that actually explains why your friend group still works the way it does. So stay with me. They absolutely did have leaders. They just had a completely different kind. There was the person everyone listened to about where the animals would be, because she was a brilliant tracker. There was the person you went to when two families were fighting, because he was calm and fair. There was the one who knew the songs, or the medicine, or the secret way to water during a drought. These were leaders of a specific thing, in a specific moment. Nobody followed them because they were good. Scientists actually have names for these two completely different routes to the top, and the researchers Joseph Henrich and Francisco Gil White laid it out cleanly. The first path is dominance, that is power through fear and intimidation. The gorilla move, the loud guy who muscles his way up. The second path is prestige, that is influence people freely hand to you because you are genuinely skilled and they want to learn from you. Dominance you take. prestige you are given. And the wild part is that ancient humans built their entire society to crush the first one and reward the second. They were not anti-leader, they were anti-jerk. And if you have ever quietly respected the competent coworker while rolling your eyes at the one who just talks the loudest in every meeting, you are running 40,000 years of software without even noticing. This is the part that gets me. We did not lose this. We carry it everywhere. The reason it feels so satisfying when an arrogant celebrity gets humbled. The reason we instinctively distrust the person who is too obviously hungry for power. The reason he is just so full of himself is a complete sentence that can end a friendship. All of it is the ghost of the band. For hundreds of thousands of years, the humans who survived were the ones who could spot a tyrant early and quietly team up to take him down a peg. Your discomfort with arrogance is not a personality quirk. It is an inheritance. The anthropologist Harold Schneider summed up the entire human condition in one line: all men seek to rule, but if they cannot rule, they prefer to be equal. Now, one fair note before we finish. This video discusses anthropological and archaeological research for educational purposes. Modern hunter-gatherer observations are used as comparative models to understand ancient human behavior, not as definitive proof of how all ancient humans lived across different time periods and geographies. People are complicated, and so is the past. But the pattern is real, and it is everywhere, which brings us right back to that annoying person from the very beginning, the one who always wants to be in charge. For most of human history, that person was the single biggest threat to the group, and we evolved an entire emotional toolkit specifically to handle them. The teasing, the eye-rolling, the refusal to clap too hard. So the next time you feel that little flash of irritation at someone trying way too hard to be the boss, do not feel bad about it. You are not being petty, you are doing the oldest job in the world. You are keeping the chief humble. And somewhere out there, a hunter who got told his enormous kill was a bag of bones would be incredibly proud of you, which naturally is the one thing you must never, ever tell him.